Putting yet another status quo to rest, the government announced a big structural reform in the armed forces this week. The consequences of this shakeup will take a few years to manifest, but the radical move has taken even defense experts off the guard. On Tuesday afternoon, fresh from a meeting of Cabinet Committee on Security, which was led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, a beaming Rajnath Singh dwelled into the details of the project before media persons. He was flanked by Chief of 3 services, who head the world's second largest standing defense force. Under the scheme named Agnipath, Defense Minister Singh said that patriotic and motivated youth will be given the chance to serve the 3 forces for a brief period of 4 years. Starting this year, about 45,000 youths between the age of 17.5 and 21 years will be recruited. They will almost hit the ground running after a basic training of 6 months. After completion of their 4 years of service, 25% of the Agniveers will be selected for regular cadre, where they will serve for another 15 years before retiring with pension and other benefits. The remaining 75% Agniveers will be demobilized with an exit package of about 12 lakh and a certificate. About half of the exit package money will come from their own contributions as a portion from their salary, which will be between 30,000 rupees to 40,000 rupees. Those who join the services after class 10 will get the certificate of 12th standard after the job completion, but they will not be entitled to any pension or other post-retirement perks which regular soldiers avail. Currently, there are about 1.4 million personnel on active duty. In their first year, Agniveers will be paid a customized package of 30,000 rupees per month, rising incrementally each year to 40,000 rupees in the 4th year. In addition, they will be paid risk and hardship allowances on a par with the 3 services. Throughout their service, 30% of their salary, a sum of 9,000 rupees per month in the first year, rising incrementally to 12,000 rupees per month in the 4th year, will go into Agniveer Corpus Fund. In this year's union budget, India allocated 5.25 trillion rupees for military spending, and in this 1.19 trillion rupees went towards paying the pensions of ex-servicemen. According to experts, over 70% of the defense expenditure goes into salary and pension. As of 2020, India has about 32 lakh defense pensioners, and every year this number goes up by 55,000. It leaves little room for the army to spend on capital expenditure, including buying of big-ticket weapons, modern military systems, fighter jets, etc.
The disparity between what is being spent in revenue expenditure, which goes into the running expenses, including salary, and what is spent on modernization expenditure, which is the capex expenditure, has been something that the army has been very worried about. The army, for example, spends up to 75% of its overall budget on salaries, 65 to 75% just on salaries and pensions. Whereas the other 2 services, which are more sort of equipment oriented, they spend a little less, but there's still overall a worrying trend that too much is being spent on salaries, and we should be spending more on modernization instead. Now, when you have a scheme like Agnipath, the aim of the scheme is to get cheaper manpower so that you spend a more sort of a larger percentage of the overall service budget on modernization and equipment. When they are recruiting, as they plan to do under the Agnipath scheme, 46,000 soldiers per year. That means that the salaries of about 46,000 soldiers are being paid at the cheaper scale of volunteer service, rather than the sort of higher scales that are being paid to full-time soldiers. So to that extent, they are saving a fair amount of money on salaries by paying 46,000 people at a lower scale.
In 2015, the government gave the nod to implement one rank, one pension scheme. It ensured equal pension to military personnel retiring from the same rank with the same years of service, irrespective of the date of their retirement. The then Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar had said that it added a huge fiscal burden on the state. So through the Agnipath scheme, the government obviously wants to cut the pension budget in the long run. Another benefit of the scheme cited by the government was that it will bring down the average age of the army. India has the world's largest youth population. About 40% are between 13 to 35 years. Rajnath Singh said that with the scheme, the average age of soldiers will gradually come down to 24 to 26 years from the existing 36. But the scheme drove a wedge between defense experts. Some are favoring it, while others saying that it may hit the combat effectiveness of the armed forces.
Initially, the quality of manpower might start going down a little, because a normal recruit would be trained for about a year before he is sent from the training centers to the combat units. And these people, the Agnipath volunteers, would be trained for, I'm assuming here, at least 6 months. So there would be that difference, a recruit who has been trained for 1 year compared to a recruit who's been trained under the Agnipath scheme for just 6 months. But as they remain in service, as they spend a year or two in service, and then that service is in combat units, I hope, they would sort of quickly make up in battle skills and in sort of their ability to handle weapons and so on. So that quality gap would hopefully be overcome.
Meanwhile, according to some reports, there was a sense of gloom among army aspirants across the North Indian towns. Most of them asked what they would do after 4 years of service. In rural belts of UP, Haryana, Punjab, Bihar, etc., an army job is tied to honor. Job security and pension after retirement offered youth some solace, even as job avenues in other sectors are coming down. Several ex-army men were also critical. They said that bonding was the core of any combat, and it is built over the years. The Agniveer cadets may be treated as guests or worst, tourists. They also said that comparison with other countries was not right. Some nations have short tours of duty because there is a shortage of recruits there, while in others there is voluntary enlistment. So only time will tell if the government scheme is able to turn the Indian Army into a more professional and better equipped force.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.
क्या हाल?
मत पूछ यार,
फिर से स्टॉक्स में फंस गया। तो स्टॉक्स के साथ बॉन्ड्स, इंश्योरेंस, गोल्ड में बैलेंस कर।
इसमें बहुत तामझाम है।
तुझे 5 पैसा नहीं पता?
अब तो सबको पता है। 5 पैसा है ऑल इन वन अकाउंट। डाउनलोड 5 पैसा नाउ।
अब तो सबको पता है। Investing made easy and rewarding with 5 Paisa. Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.